Well, NFL preseason is finally underway, and we were able to see Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin take the field during training camp 7 months after he suffered cardiac arrest during a Monday night game in Cincinnati. I think we all remember that.
Absolutely. And Hamlin's still recovering from the entire scare. Joining us this morning, our 9Health medical expert, Dr. Coley, to talk about the recovery from that cardiac arrest that really shocked the nation. Yeah. Dr. Coley. So talk to us a little bit about what his recovery and what recovery looks like after a cardiac arrest.
You know, obviously it was so traumatizing for us, to witness that arrest. But thankfully, because of that timely CPR that he got, we really don't expect any long-term physical consequences. Now, he was diagnosed with something called commotio cordis, which means that the football hit his chest at exactly the wrong time, at exactly the wrong angle, at exactly the wrong speed, because those are the three things that sort of go into causing the electricity in the heart to misbehave. Thankfully, it didn't actually cause any kind of contusion or any kind of bruise on the heart muscle itself. So we don't think he actually had any damage to the heart. Now, after you have a cardiac arrest, they give you CPR, which can obviously break your breastbone, your sternum. It can break your ribs. Those do take a few weeks or months to heal, but now several months out, we do expect that to be better.
Now, and quickly, to be clear, he didn't have an underlying health condition. It was just those three factors that you mentioned that caused this. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So they've done extensive testing on him, and before he ends up going back to play, they need to be double and triple sure that nothing is going on structurally, nothing is going on electrically. So they've likely done EKGs, which are electrical maps, echocardiograms, which look at the heart, MRIs, which look at it really close to see if there's any scar tissue or anything like that. They've even probably put him on a treadmill and had him run.
Stress test.
Yes, and watch his heart during exercise. And sometimes they'll even go so far as to give medicines to see if they can provoke arrhythmias, to see if you have some sort of underlying tendency for an arrhythmia.
Now, some fans have said they're still a little nervous to watch because they feel like this is happening so soon. They're surprised by that. What does it take to clear somebody medically for something like this?
So, you'd want to go through all these tests, and we're learning that commotio cordis is actually more common than we had previously thought. So it's about 1 in 5 cases of sudden cardiac arrest in young athletes in the United States that's causing this. So to me, this is a really good prognostic sign for his long-term recovery. Now, some people will say that, hey, if you've had commotio cordis once, you may have it again. And there's some animal models that suggest an underlying vulnerability for commotio cordis, because plenty of people get hit in the chest, but not every single person ends up having this type of a situation. So if you're very conservative, you will say never return to play. But this is really a personalized decision because of the impact that it can have. And so I think his doctors, if they weren't able to find any structural or electrical abnormalities, really had this conversation with him. Now, we do know there's some factors like chest protectors that could maybe minimize the chance of commotio cordis. So whether or not they'll have him put a plate or some kind of a thing on his chest moving forward. But even with chest protectors, we've seen it occur. So, that to me is the biggest question mark, is there some sort of risk of recurrence that's a little higher.
And it sounds like it's a possibility, right?
It's a possibility,
not totally out of the question.
But not enough, I think, that we would disqualify him.
Yeah, but all of his coaches right now probably are like, oh, we don't want to be the ones to hurt him again, because that was really scary to watch that.
That's right. And for us as cardiologists, we have to decide, are we going to put in something called a defibrillator?
Yes. Sure.
Inside of him, so that if this ever were to happen again, then it would trigger. Obviously, advantages and disadvantages, but you're putting a device inside somebody who's playing this type of a game. If it could misfire, the lead could fracture. There's risks to it as well. So I think as long as he's got a resuscitative team close by, I feel comfortable that he can return to play.
And it sounds like he's got a good team right around him too.
That's right. That's right. Now I just think we'll have to think about the psychological consequences, because about 50% of people who have cardiac arrest will end up having severe PTSD. But I heard his interview yesterday, and I think he's doing really well.
He really is. I think he is as well. Dr. Coley, thanks for being with us.